years now, and he is one of the finest Christian gentlemen I know, and he is also a man who's very articulate and very, very, very passionate about his adopted country, Australia. If more Australians loved this country as much as he does, we wouldn't need to be here today. Paul.
Thank you, Jim. I hope you folks will be able to understand this very odd accent that I've got, but it's just the message that's important. In my hand, I hold the Book of Hate. This is the authority for all the evil that the Muslims perpetrate around the world. The authority, so whenever you hear people say it is un-Islamic, they are blatantly lying to you, because everything they do is derived from this book. This is the authority for everything they enact, for all the evil they perpetrate. It's from this book. The contrary to this book is the Bible. You see, Islam is built on the shoulders of Muhammad, who is a pedophile, a rapist, and a terrorist. Christianity and our Judean Christian laws are built on the Bible. The Word of God says, in Psalm 119, verse 63 says, I am a companion of those who fear thee, and a friend of those who love thee. See, we are friends with people who fear the Lord and who love Him. But one of the most powerful statements ever made came from Golda Meir, the first woman leader of a nation of the world. And this is what she said: peace will come to the Middle East when the Arabs learn to love life more than they love death. You see, and the authority for what they do, again, comes out of this manual, in this book of hate. So what we've got in our midst is people who think nothing about killing themselves, nothing about killing you and me, because that's what they're rewarded for doing. Another great quote that comes from the late great founder of Singapore was Lee Kuan Yew, one of the greatest leaders in the world, and he single-handedly built Singapore. And this is what he said: all religions and ethnicities can settle and assimilate in Singapore, except for the Islamic faith. No one ever called him a racist. Why? You know, I can't get over this. Yesterday I was talking to a crowd of young people outside Jackie Trad's office, where a few of us met, and these few young people, or 6 or 7 of them from university, and they were eating out of my hand as I was beginning to impart knowledge to them. And when I asked them, do you know that Lebanon was once called the Garden of Eden of the Mediterranean? And they didn't know that. I said, what happened to the Garden of Eden? How did it become a basket case of terrorism? There was only 1% Christians in Lebanon in 1965. Arab-Israeli wars and the refugees that came out of those wars didn't go to affluent Arab countries, but they went to infidel Christian Lebanon. You know, I can't wrap my head around why people would want to come to a country where they hate our anthem, they hate our flag, they hate bacon, they hate us having dogs as pets, they hate the way our women dress on the beach, but yet they want to screw them and rape them in the name of Allah, of course. You know, I can't wrap my head around this. Why do you want to come to a country where everything we love and we enjoy and you hate and you find abhorrent, and yet you want to come here? They don't just come here, they beg and they swindle their way into this country. And I'm more than confident to tell you that the leadership of this nation, they're not just in denial. They are literally cowards, because they know what this religion stands for. Just a few weeks ago, I was talking with a senior liberal guy, having a coffee with him. And I quoted him from the Quran. And he said, yes, you're absolutely right. I know what the verses are from the Quran. And he's actually a very senior position in the parliament in the Liberal Party. These guys know what's going on. In 1990, in the early 90s, I had a meeting with David Jull. He was the former Speaker of the House of Representatives, the long-standing member for the seat of Fadden. Blue ribbon Liberal seat. My wife and him sat with him. John Howard was then Prime Minister, and I asked him, I said, does John Howard know about Islam and the danger it is to the country? He said, oh yes, he knows about it. He said, we could literally circle Lakemba as a different country. Folks, these people know what it is. They know what is happening, but they haven't got the courage, they haven't got the guts, and I don't know why some of these men wear pants. You know, they haven't got the courage. And you know what is most sickening of all? The most despicable thing of all? They are literally pimping the future of their own children to the most evil ideology humanity has ever known. I can understand if you sell your own future, right? Because some of us have got, maybe I've got 20 years to go, another 20, 25 years to go. But to pimp the future of my own children, that takes a special kind of coward. That's a special coward if you want to do that. What will your children think of you when they grow up? Why were you silent? Why were you silent when these people were out here doing what they were doing? And the amazing part about it, they do not hide what their agenda is. They're openly telling us. They openly tell us what their agenda is. And yet, these politicians pimp us to them. A few years ago at the state election when I was walking in to vote, a young smart fellow, he was definitely a university student, smartly dressed. And as I was walking in, he was handing me a card with a green how to vote card. I said, mate, you are to this economy what Al-Qaeda is to our defense forces. You commit jihad on our country. He said, wow, I've never heard that, sir. Can I talk with you on the way back? I said, sure. I did my vote at the time for the LNP candidate who was a friend of mine for the seat of Springwood. And on the way back, he stopped me. I said, okay, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. You've got to speak honestly to me. If you can't answer them honestly, we're wasting our time. I said, number 1, is Islam a peace-loving, tolerant religion? Yes or no? He said, no, it's not. I said, second question, if I had a camera and a recorder here in front of you and I asked you the same question, will you give me the same answer? He says, no, you know I can't do that. Folks, this is what we're doing. These people are doing what is politically expedient for them at the expense of the future of our own children. That is treachery. If these guys were, particularly the Greens, if they were advocating it, the policy they advocate today during World War II, they'd be behind bars. And I'll tell you something, Scott talked about the churches. I was actually involved in church leadership at the time. And when I was standing for the seat of Springwood, I'm ex-One Nation, by the way. Pauline's good, personally picked me for this winnable seat, but then we were all, no, that's history, so we're behind us, okay? And I was talking to the churches, the pastors of the churches, and I put this to them. I said, will you give me the chance to speak behind your pulpit? And one guy said, I'd like you to actually give your testimony because you've got a powerful testimony, but leave the politics aside. I said, I'm more than happy to do that. But when the time came, he couldn't find the courage to give me the microphone. But I'll tell you what, I caught him afterwards, because I don't care, I don't need his money either. And I said, I'll tell you something. What are the Muslims telling their people in the mosques? Vote Labour, vote Greens. I said, what are you saying? They're the most toxic. You put the 3 together, Islam, Labour and the Greens, the most toxic chemical you could get in the nation, where they'll destroy us. The combination is so powerful. We know it. These people in power know it, and yet they haven't got the courage to stand up for our children. I'll tell you, the reason I came across to Fraser was for only one reason. I looked at his voting record. I looked at the things he said. I looked at his voting record. It ticked every box. So the only credibility he's got is his voting record. It's not what he says. You know, words come easy. Words come cheap. Okay, and we know another so-called patriot leader who give you all the right words, but when it comes to actually voting, show me the money. It was fake currency. But when I listened to what this guy said, and I saw his voting, it ticked every box, which means he's got credibility. When he talks, he's speaking from a position of authority because he's earned it. He's got the credibility to say it and follow through with it. Just like Trump. The entire world knows you don't play with Donald Trump. When he says something, you'd be a fool not to listen. And it's the same thing we've got with Fraser here. And I can assure you, I can tell you from my nose to sniff the wind, if this guy gets across the line, the nation is rescued. If he doesn't get across the line, I can tell you, friends, this nation is finished. Yep. Bank that. If he doesn't get across the line, this nation is gone. Do not rely upon Pauline. You know her voting record. I hate to say it, but you put a Muslim candidate in. Once you put a Muslim candidate in your party, your authority is gone. You've compromised it and it's finished. You can never recover it. You know, we need to get him across the line. I can't impress upon you enough. Be bloody minded about it. Whatever you do, election day, we need you at the ballot. We need you at the box there, just handing out a how to vote card. It is critical. I cannot impress upon you enough how critical it is to hand out how to vote card on election day. Just find a booth. This guy here who's been so helpful, get on to him. Wherever you can be, just be there for the day. How to vote card. If you want to get him across the line. This is not about you. It's not about me. It's about the future of our children. It is so serious. I want you to get that across your heads, folks. This is about the future of your children and nothing else. If you're content to pimp the future of your children, you're standing in the wrong place. You're a gutless coward to be here. We need our children. We need to protect them. And we need to get this guy in because he's the only guy who's authentic. Don't forget the date, 18th of May.